Apparently, AI is forcing Microsoft to take your money. What's going on, guys? So, you've probably heard the news by now. Microsoft is officially in crisis mode, laying off 4,800 employees, and the Xbox gaming division is getting absolutely crushed. After spending 80 billion to build the Netflix of gaming, the map has completely failed. Game Pass is stalling, and the global AI race is making everything worse. Xbox CEO Ash Sharma sent an email to employees saying, and I quote, "Business today is not healthy. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than the comparable platform and publishing businesses. We must reset Xbox." Now, that is truly a life comes at you fast type of quote. It was just 4 years ago that Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard in an all cash transaction valued at 68.7 billion. So how do you go from acquiring a company whose acquisition made you the third largest gaming company by revenue to not being healthy? Well, apparently, Microsoft has been struggling for years now. And guess who's to blame? Netflix. I'm just kidding. They aren't to blame, but they're kind of to blame. Hear me out. Netflix has become so successful that it's made every company believe that they can have subscription based products. Well, you know what? Newsflash, it doesn't work for every company. Case in point, Microsoft. They spent 80 billion over the last decade betting everyone wanted Netflix for gaming. It's wild how a company can achieve massive success, but still totally misread the market and destroy their own value. And when you pull back the curtain on how Microsoft was actually running Xbox behind the scenes, you'll realize the math never stood a chance. Their CEO said in a typical year, Xbox was actually losing 64 cents for every single dollar they invested. Think about that from a business perspective. They spent the last decade with a blank check, buying up dozens of studios, but instead of building a streamlined entity, their headcount exploded by 40% and became completely fragmented. They were going through a crazy amount of cash while their player base was actively shrinking. Now, my next question is, how do you lose 64 cents for every dollar you invest? Luckily, the CEO gave us the insight on that too. Now, you'd think that efficiency would be one of the most important operational characteristics in a company like Microsoft. But apparently, simple work could pass through 14 layers of management just for review and approval. Can you imagine trying to release a product that may need 14 levels of sign off? Apparently, neither can their CEO because she plans on flattening the organization. 14 layers is going to drop down to 5, and where possible, just 3. They're also going to reduce vendor spending by 50%. Org flattening and efficiency should improve operations, but that's just half the battle. Microsoft also realized that the entire Netflix for gaming utopia completely stalled out. They projected they would hit 77 million Game Pass subscribers by now. Guess where they're at? 30 million, which is 4 million down from 2024. This actually goes back to what I was saying earlier about not understanding your consumer. Video streaming works because people watch a show once or twice and move on. At most, you maybe spend 2 hours watching a movie, and then you're done. Unless it's Stranger Things and you're me, and you've binge watched seasons 1 through 4 separate times. But that's it. Circana did a study showing that the average US gamer only buys 2 games a year. They're replaying their favorite games. That's further supported by the idea that practically every console game takes longer to get through than a show or a movie. It looks like Microsoft is finally starting to figure that out. So they're severing ties with a bunch of studios they've acquired over the last 10 years. What's most interesting are the companies that they're going to keep around. Mojang and King. Mojang, Minecraft, King, Candy Crush. It's obvious why they would hold on to those companies. Minecraft is literally the most successful video game in history. It has hundreds of millions of active monthly players, and if you stay on YouTube long enough, you'll probably see at least 5 Minecraft videos. It's been so successful, as it turns out, its earnings have basically been keeping the lights on for the rest of the company's products. Now, for some of you, this may be interesting information, but if you don't play or care about video games, you might be wondering why this matters to me. Well, simple answer: money. Your own money. Complex answer: AI. At this point, it's almost like the tech sector is getting hit with an invisible tax. If you're paying attention, AI is pretty much dominating the news cycle. Company stocks are rising and falling with the prospect of what they are or aren't doing with AI. More significantly, tech companies are buying up massive amounts of processing power and components for AI, and as a result, they're draining the global supply chain. According to Microsoft, memory and console prices have spiked by 2.5 times, and they expect that to double by fall of 2027. That's a big reason why they're going to raise the prices on their consoles in August, even though they already raised them last October. And this isn't just Microsoft. Apple caught the market completely off guard by doing the same thing. They raised their prices by 100 to 300 across iPads, Macs, and the Vision Pro. In essence, the push to create AI infrastructure is literally making standard everyday electronics more expensive for the regular consumer. It got so bad for Microsoft that they actually had to change the way they're selling products to get you in the door. They were doing buy now, pay later programs, interest-free financing, heavily pushing refurbished or previously played gear. That's like real mom and pop, 20-employee max starter company type stuff. When trillion-dollar companies have to, I repeat, have to, not want to, offer installment plans just so people can afford retail entertainment products, trouble. And again, this is apparently affecting companies across the board. Over the last 12 months, shares of Nintendo are down 52%, Sony down 17%, Microsoft down 20%. Now, pit stop. We have our second ironic situation because it seems like all is doom and gloom. On one end, Microsoft is unhealthy, the gaming division. They're losing money and they're raising prices to offset rising costs associated with this global tech race to build AI infrastructure. Way on the other end, according to AI Age, Microsoft invested $2.5 billion into a new group focused on helping clients with AI implementations. They call this initiative Microsoft Frontier Co. Now, I'm not going to do any more digging. I'm going to leave that right there. I appreciate you guys for watching. Later.